Good morning. Welcome to the First Universalist Society in Franklin. My name is Diana Tesney, and I serve this congregation as the Director of Religious Education, and today I am your worship leader. On this Memorial Day Sunday, I welcome members of our congregation, friends, and guests, both present in this space and joining us on Zoom. Our community welcomes all who are seeking refreshment, renewal, and connection. Whatever lands you have journeyed through this week to bring you to this place, whether you bring sorrow or joy in your wake, whoever you are, know that you are welcome here. If you are visiting with us today, you are especially welcome. Please take a moment to sign the guest book in the foyer or our virtual guest book online. You'll find the link in the chat, and please join us for refreshments after the service. We look forward to getting to know you better. As we prepare to enter this time of worship, please take a moment to silence your electronic devices, set aside the concerns and worries and to-do lists. I know you all have them. Just put them in a little imaginary box and set them to the side. They will be with you at 11:30. They'll be waiting for you. Take a breath, open your heart, and step into this special time that we share together. It's all right. It's lots of singing. Each Sunday morning, we share a centering ritual with Unitarian Universalists around the world, the lighting of a chalice flame, and a reflective verse or meditation. I didn't get to ask her yet, but is Julia still in here? Do you want to light the chalice today? Yeah? No? Violet already said no. Who is feeling a flame in their heart today that would like to light the chalice? Please come on up, my dear. Haven't seen you in a while. All right. I'll show you how to do it. Good morning. So nice to see you, Arabella. Come on over here. We have a new chalice. So you're going to hold this and then just touch it to that flame there. And there we go. Well done. Thank you. This verse is an adaptation of a verse from Rudolf Steiner. The light of the sun brightens all space when dark night is past. The light of my heart awakens itself from deep, restful sleep. I give thanks to the light in the world. I give thanks to the light in my heart, making me strong, helping my life shine. Please join me in singing our unison affirmation, which you will find printed inside the front cover of the gray hymnal. And I believe we sit to sing this, so please stay seated. I just need to share with you that Yeah, I'll change things up a little bit. We used to always sing that song right before I would do my Time for All Ages story, and I'm a little bit Pavlovian. Like, it's time to tell my story now that we sang the song. And it is, because I'm also your worship leader today. But it is kind of funny that whenever I hear that, I go, that's my cue, it's my cue. Today is the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. Although in popular culture, this holiday has come to be associated with the opening of the beach and barbecue season, its true meaning is much more somber. Memorial Day developed from days set aside to decorate the graves of soldiers who died in the American Civil War, which claimed the lives of about 2% of this country's population at the time, which is kind of an amazing thing to think about. There was not a person, anybody in the whole country that was not touched by this conflict. And it continues to affect American life today, almost 160 years later. When I read this to my daughter when I was practicing, she said, "It does?" And I said, "Confederate flags?" And she said, "Oh, right? It's still a thing. We still remember the Civil War." Many groups of citizens in both the northern and southern states developed Decoration Day traditions to honor their loved ones. And these local celebrations gradually became officially recognized by those states. Subsequent military conflicts increased the interest in having a day to honor and mourn our fallen soldiers. In 1971, Memorial Day became a federal holiday. It was kind of a federal holiday before, but it was celebrated on the 30th of May. But then in 1971, they chose to call it Memorial Day, not Decoration Day. And it was decided that it would always be on the last Monday in May in order to create a 3-day weekend holiday for workers. I always found it incongruous to place a holiday of reflective remembrance at the beginning of summer, when all of nature is expanding outwards into growth and life. Getting out, getting on with it, getting over it, right? So why this holiday? In my tradition, we honor the dead in the fall, when the leaves are falling and you're turning inward, this time of reflective, quiet, thinking about what is past. So why Memorial Day and the flowers in this time of light, light, light? So what I wanted to share with you today is what I've realized in my thinking about this. When we turn to winter, we do indeed honor and give thanks for what is past. And then when we turn to summer, we bring forth our hopes for the future. Now, the soldiers had to have hope in some kind of a future that would be worth fighting for. When we plant our summer gardens, we need to have hope in a future harvest. Otherwise, why go to the work of doing the gardening and the weeding, all that work? Why? Because we have hope. When we step out into the coming season of growth, we need to have hope that change and development are possible, that the pumpkin seed will one day be a pumpkin. We honor those who fought for the future by saying we too have hopes for a beautiful future, and we will work to make it possible. Please stand as you are able and join together in singing hymn number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath. Number 6.
I must answer yes to life, though
I'd like to invite the children to come down and visit. You can come into the front row. This is going to be different for me because I have it. I'm going to get my other microphone so I can come down in front like I usually do because it's weird. I'm too short. What happened? We used to have a step here, right? We did. And this is the first time I've been up here in a long time. I'm like, what? Anyway, you need a step for your short people. You can come on down. Okay, so do any of you know the writer Neil Gaiman? Anybody know Neil Gaiman? Okay, he wrote books for kids, and he also wrote a lot of books that are definitely not for kids, so parents be aware, right? Those of you who know him are nodding. Yes, definitely not for kids. But some of them are. When he became a father, he became interested in writing for children. So his book, The Graveyard Book, won a lot of awards, and Coraline also is for older children. There's a story I was thinking when I thought about this service actually comes from one of his comics, which is called The Sandman. And it's about a being who is an archetype, which is like something that represents lots of things. We've talked about symbols, right? Like a stop sign is a symbol for stop, and a heart is a symbol for love, like a drawn heart, right, is a symbol for love. So this being, he looks like a man, but he is the Lord of Dreams. And in this story, he gets captured by some people, and his magical helmet is taken away from him. It's stolen. And it is sold to a demon who brings it to hell. And when Dream finally is released from bondage, when he breaks out of his prison, he has to go looking for his helmet because he doesn't have certain access to certain kinds of power. So he goes down to hell with his raven, and they try to find the helmet. And the demon who took it said, I will give it back to you on one condition. You have to have a contest, a duel, basically, to see who can win the helmet. And you're going to have a duel with Lucifer. Now, Lucifer, for those of you who don't know him, is a fallen angel, and he is the Lord of Light. He's sometimes called the Lightbringer. So they have this duel, and it reminds me of a story from Welsh mythology where there was a goddess, and she kind of fights kind of a duel like this with another being. So this is what happened in the duel. Do you all know what a duel is? It's like it's a contest. Often it's people like fighting each other with swords. But in this, someone would say, okay, I'm going to be this. Can you top me? Kind of like if I put down a 1, you would put down a 2. And then I would put down a 10, and you could put down 100. Right? And we keep going. Tyler's like, yeah, I get that, right? We keep going until there's somebody who has nothing that can top whatever it is that's been put down. Okay, so this was the duel. First, Lucifer had the first move. He became a wolf, a snarly wolf. So Dream became a hunter and bested the wolf. Then Lucifer became a poisonous snake, which attacked the hunter. But then Dream became an eagle, which came out of the sky and got the snake. Then Lucifer right away starts to play really dirty. He says, I'm going to be a horrible disease that attacks the eagle. And the eagle gets sick, suddenly dying. But Dream says, I am now a world that can hold everything, even dangerous diseases, safely. They're part of the world. Lucifer starts to play really dirty. He says, I'm going to be a nova, an exploding star. And he fries the world. Dream says, I'm a universe. I can hold everything. Even the power of an exploding star is just normal in the universe. No problem. Lucifer says, I am anti-life. I'm the ultimate darkness, despair, the heaviness of the inside of a black hole from not which even light can't escape it. The ultimate darkness. And Dream falls to the floor. He has no answer. to that? And Lucifer says, your move. What do you have for me? And the raven hops over to Dream and says, boss, are you okay? You can't be gone. There has to be something. There has to be something that can defeat this, because I know that you would not leave me here alone in hell with Lucifer. And at this point, when we were watching this, my daughter, Claire, says to me, wait, is that cheating? Did he just give him the answer? And I said, no, he didn't give him the answer. He showed him the answer, because Dream lifts his head and says, I am hope. And he stands to face the angel. All his strength brought back to him. And the angel says like this, hope. Oh, dang. Well, Lightbringer, says the Dream, what do you have that can defeat hope? And the angel says to the demon with the helmet, give him his helmet. Get out. You won. So Dream and his raven walk out of hell with the helmet. I love that story because it's true. So you all are going to go with your teachers, and I'm going to stay here. How weird is that? But I'm going to stay here, and you're going to do some talking about hope, and I'm going to talk to the grown-ups about hope. What do you hope for the future? It can be as simple as, I hope I get to try every flavor of ice cream at the ice cream store this summer. That's my goal and my hope. But maybe it's something else. Maybe you hope for something different. Violet already has an idea. You're going to have a chance to come back and tell us, all right? So we're going to, my girls that have been working with me all year know that I love to do collage. So you guys are going to make some collages? Yes, says Eva. Yes, collage. So it's all set up for you, and your teachers will take you in, and you can make pictures of things that you hope for, or any picture that you want. And we'll see you a little later, and you can tell us about what you hope for. Please join me in singing the children out to their classes. I invite us to enter into a time of prayer and meditation. So we're going to do something that I learned from the Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron. Some of you may have read some of her books. I know Duncan is familiar with this technique of meditation, but I just felt inspired to share it with you when I was working on this sermon the other day. It's called Tonglen breathing. Has anyone ever heard of that? Something totally new? Oh boy, okay. So this kind of breathing, apparently monks do this in Tibet, and they do it as a practice of it's like almost like active spiritual hygiene for the world. So it sounds a little counterintuitive. I'm going to explain it first, and then we're going to practice it. So if you don't want to participate in the Tonglen breathing, you don't have to do it. Just sit and breathe, which you're doing anyway, so you're fine. So what you're doing when you're doing Tonglen is you breathe in negativity, breathe it in, which normally you'd think, I don't want to breathe in negativity. But what we realize when we're doing this breath is that we all, as you breathe it in, you have the power to transform it inwardly and then send it out to whoever needs it. So if, for example, I'm going to breathe in sadness, grief, loss. We've all felt that, right? You can feel it. And then we've also all felt forgiveness, joy, happiness, lightness, letting go of that heaviness. So inside you, you change it, and then you breathe that out. And the thinking is that by breathing it out, it's then available for anyone who needs it. So you don't need to be sending a prayer to somebody specific or about a specific thing. Although sometimes when we breathe in things, we are thinking about specific people, and when we're sending out, we're thinking about specific situations that we'd like to help make better. That's fine. But there's also this practice of unattachment. It's almost like, when I first learned about this, I'm like, it's like I'm an air filter, right? But I'm not, the stuff isn't staying in me, right? Unlike the air filter, the heaviness, the stuff, the yucky stuff, isn't staying in my body. I'm just shifting it. It's almost like I'm changing the ionization of it, for those of you that are scientists, right? Like I'm changing it from a positive to a negative or whatever I'm doing, switching it from one to another, and then just sending it out into the world. So can we practice this for just a few minutes? I know sometimes in the West, for many of us to breathe or like consciously, or to do any kind of meditative work, even for 1 minute, feels like an eternity. We're not used to it in this culture, but just like us to practice for a minute. So you can also, and we're all going to be doing it differently. Like you don't have to breathe with me because that would be weird. But just in your own self, take a moment to come to your own center and take a breath there. And let it go. And then you can start, whenever you're ready, feeling, all right, I'm going to breathe in heaviness, darkness, sadness, whatever it is, fear, anxiety. I made a list. And then when you breathe out, you're breathing out lightness, brightness, joy, courage, and peace. Those are the direct opposites of those things that I named earlier, that heaviness. They're really parts of the same coin. It's like the same energy. It's just one is in a negative expression and one is in a positive expression. And if you want to, like I said, there's so much in the world that we could bring wishes for transformation to. And it can be personal or it can be very big. You just bring it in for a moment, so it doesn't become a part of you, that sadness or heaviness or darkness. But you have the power to shift it into something, into its opposite. And as you breathe, you can imagine that energy, that transformed energy, going out into the world. And then it's available. Those moments when you're sad and suddenly you see something or think of something and you feel like you're going to be able to go on. Maybe somebody was doing Tonglen and sent you something. Or just the good wishes and hopes that people have for our human brothers and sisters are there in the world for us. If nothing else, it's a way that we can do this for ourselves. To feel our heaviness and darkness and then be able to let it go. So take one more breath. And it's almost like you can imagine switching off the air filter. And then your breathing is just your regular breathing, which is also giving health and joy to you and to those who love you and are happy to see you breathing. Thank you. I give thanks for this community and our working together to bring light into the world. And I'm giving thanks in advance for Michelle and the choir and the gift of music. We'll now have a time of special music. Thank you, choir and musicians. So you all know this about me, that I am a teacher. And this year I am just finishing up teaching a second grade class of 20 children, as well as teaching your children on Sunday mornings. To work with children is always to be working with hope, because otherwise you couldn't make it through the day. No, because they are always growing and changing right before your eyes, like a garden in summer when the flowers turn to fruit almost overnight. So there is this tension, like what we experienced in the Tonglen breathing, between being present with what is happening in the moment, fully in the moment, fully with the flower, not thinking about the zucchini fruit, right? Not thinking about the end product, just right here, right now. And ultimately, which we all do, thinking about the end, the harvest, the sweetness of the zucchini bread on an August evening with butter and honey. Y'all, like, it's coming, right? But right now, it's the beginning of summer, so we have to plant that garden, plant those zucchinis, take care of those baby plants in order to get to the harvest. This tension between those two places, between where I am right now and where I ultimately want to end up, is this place of hope that I've been talking about today. Hope is what sustains me when I feel like my students will never learn to walk in a line without shoving each other, that they'll never learn to treat one another kindly or keep track of their pencils. We're really working on that. I don't know. I gotta just be hopeful. The activity of hoping that they someday will be able to do these things makes it possible for me to keep working. Makes it possible for me to go forward. And that going forward from point A to point B is what really matters. Like, that's what hope actually is in that space in between. So many things in life are like this. I was thinking about this. The housework, never ending. Relationship work, never ending. Creative work, like artistic work, like you never say, I am now a painter. I can just check that off my list, right? Like you just keep going. There's always more to strive for, to work for, to learn about. I'm not hoping that one day I will have everything finished or fixed, because that would actually be a foolish wish. But what I hope for is that I'll be able to keep going, keep making progress, and keep learning. The harvest supper, even with that zucchini, that isn't the end, because there's still the dishes, right? There's still more that needs to be done. The dishes will never be done. The floor will always need to be swept, but every day I can choose to do these things with more attentiveness, with more grace, with more love and joy. When I have hope, every day I learn something new. And there are successes and accomplishments to be celebrated along the way. Like that harvest dinner is definitely an accomplishment and definitely something that is a goal that was met. But then there's more without that. The work goes on, and so does the hope. That's what I wrote. So on Memorial Day, I think about the futility and stupidity of war. It's hopeless, right? When my students ask me, who won this war? Who won that war? I just shake my head at them. I'm like, this is not soccer. This is not football. Nobody wins a war. Somebody just loses less badly than somebody else. To strive to create a peaceful world, to heal the deep wounds that we inflict on one another, seems the most hopeless task. The world is embroiled in conflict, and we are unfortunately moving into a time of ever more divisive uncertainty. Sorry to have to bring that, but it is true, I feel. What can we hope for in such a future? Just as in the summer gardener situation, the gardener can't control the weather. There's a lot that's out of our control as well. Like that summer gardener, though, we do have choices about how we respond to changing circumstances. At least for now, we have many freedoms here in America that other countries do not have. Freedoms that were dearly paid for with the lives of our fellow citizens. If you want to know more about, I'll haven't read that article about citizen surveillance in China right now in the New York Times. It was kind of really spooky to read that yesterday in the paper. We don't have that here, not yet, right? So whether the wars that our soldiers, our American soldiers, fought in were justified or not, whether they were wrong or right, I surmise that those who fought were for the most part hopeful that they were fighting for a more just world. When we make choices out of freedom to strive for a more just world, we carry their hopes forward. And always, no matter the constraints of our circumstances, we have the freedom to hope. So hope isn't just about sitting around and wishing that things were different. That's different, right? Just sitting and going, I wish I had a pony, right? That's not going to help you get the pony, right? To hope is to work, and that working is so much more fun when it is done together in community. A collective vision, collective hope in that shared vision, and many hands making light work of all that needs to be done can accomplish so much more than one person ever could. And it helps us stay hopeful when our hopes are flagging, to be around people who are having a good day when we're not having a good day, right? This Memorial Day, we honor those who fought and died for their hopes. Some of us will go to cemeteries and place flowers on headstones. Inwardly, we can all imagine that we're placing flowers on the headstones of those who had hope for the future. We can work for the hopes that we carry in our own hearts as well. So I'm asking you all, what are your hopes for the future? Like I asked the children. What will you grow in your garden? As a faith community, what is your collective vision for your future? As you prepare to close this church year and step out into summer season of growth and transformation, as your FUSF delegates prepare to represent you at General Assembly, what sprouts are you nurturing and tending as a faith community? I wish for you all a bountiful harvest and continued hopeful striving. So may it be. The generosity of this community makes this community possible. We will now collect the morning's offering. So I texted the RE teachers and told them to bring the children back in, but I suspect they are very busy cutting and gluing. So they should be in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, I wanted to see if there's anyone here who has a particular hope or vision for the future that they'd like to share with the community, or just anything you'd like to share about Memorial Day. Maybe you have a special relative that you're honoring today. So if you would like to speak, just raise your hand. I know we're not used to doing this, but if the children have to speak, I thought you all should speak too, right?
Well, I want to tell a story about hope before the children get here. It was a psychiatrist who was very concerned about his two children. And the two boys, twin boys, one was always very positive, one was always very negative. So at Christmas time, he gave all the toys to the one that was negative, and went into the room to see whether that impacted on that boy. And the boy was saying, "Oh, I have a red truck and a green truck, but I wanted a yellow truck." And there was just criticism throughout, so he knew he failed there. But he went out to see the optimistic child who was outside digging in a pile of manure, which the father had given him. And the little boy is digging away at this pile of manure, and he says, "Oh, Daddy, this is just the best Christmas present ever. I know there's a pony here somewhere."
Must be a pony. And eventually, of course, we hope that that child worked to get his own pony, right, man? Because that was a dirty trick to play on your child. Does anyone else have something they're hoping for, or a story about hope, or something they'd like to bring? I see the children are coming down. Come on in, come on in. It was interesting thinking about Memorial Day. It's all, really, this is, I didn't just make this up for the sermon. It has been a question for me. Like, why do we go to the cemetery in summer, right? We go to the cemetery in the winter, in the fall, when the leaves of earth is dying down into winter, right? So it was neat to think about, because we carry their hopes forward. Wow, what have you all brought for us? So many things. You want to come on up? The grown-ups didn't have too much to say, but I know you guys have lots to say. Okay, come on over. You can just hold up your artwork that you made if you want to and show everybody. Reed even has a smile on his chin. That is good to see. All right. Good. Does anyone want to talk about what they made? We love making collages, by the way. And the DRE loves making collages, and so then that means all the kids get to make collages. Eva, you want to say something about what you made?
I just made this because my favorite color is blue, and I made this, and I just put a lot of words on it.
Says, you got finally, that's a hopeful statement. New, on the edge of mystery. You've got some dragons here. And you've got far from home and on the edge. That's like stepping out into new beginnings. And the background is also words too. And you have this kitty looking up, right? Sometimes when I make collages, I don't know what my collage is about. It's hoping.
It's hoping for someone to bring it fish on a tray.
That is a good thing to be hopeful for. Violet, what do you have to be hopeful?
I made this to show that, to be able to stand up for women's rights and be a feminist requires a lot of hope into, standing up for that kind of thing.
Very good. We can all. Yes, awesome. Feminism is thinking that women deserve to be treated like human beings, which to me, I'm always like, duh, right? But, we're living in a time when that's a thing, right? So anyone else want to share what they've made? Yeah.
I made this because me and my dad, we grow the farm.
You grow flowers on your farm?
Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. So flowers on a farm, you got to be hopeful to plant flowers, but they always bloom, don't they? Anyone else have a collage they'd like to share? Hi, Griselda. You made gold. Look at that, shiny. That's very hopeful. Beautiful. And Julia, you have some cats there? We all like cats. It's a real cat energy going on here today. Oh, you have a cat there too, Zoe? All right. Anyone else have something they want to share that they were hopeful for? No? Thank you for bringing all of this in. It's so nice. All right, if you want to go and sit up here. Oh, you have something you want to share? You want to, we said, don't you have word? It says all systems go, and it says, I hope that everything lives. I hope that everything lives. We can hope for life, abundant life for all of the beings of the earth. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. You're an inspiration to the grown-ups who weren't quite sure what they would bring, but you all brought something. And you did that all so quickly, like really fast. All right, come and sit here, my dears, and we are going to finish up our service together. There's going to be some singing. Oh, I think we're singing Peace Like a River next. Let me see my worship list. It is Peace Like a River. Okay, so I wrote before we sing, may our hopes for the future carry us into that future as a river carries a boat down to the sea. Please join me in singing our final hymn, number 100. I've got Peace Like a River. It's in your hymnal.
Peace
I didn't know those last verses, but now we have gestures for those too, right, Tyler? We did that at Chalice Camp, I believe, but I didn't know the other ones. Now we know them. That is good. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. So wrote Emily Dickinson. May feathery hope sing sweetly in your soul this day and every day, and may the peace, joy, and love of this community carry you into the future. Let us join together in singing our farewell song. And I've never done this, so I don't know how we do it. We stand. Okay, good. I'm always out there, right? Here we go. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. And I'm going to do this today. It's not going. It's too colorful. Hang on, guys. You use Right. One moment. I got it. Well, some people have feelings about blowing out a candle. We extinguish our chalice flame, but the light in our hearts will always remain. Blessings on your week ahead and peace until we meet again. Our service is over, but the joy of this community carries us into the week. Be well. Blessed be.